Rise for the pledges of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Here. Trustee Grant. Here. Trustee Jones.
Here.
Trustee Tate. Trustee Todd. Here. Trustee P.L.A.N.
Here.
We're not going to go into, we don't need to go into executive session, so we'll move right down to the approval of the minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the committee minutes of the whole for June 16, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by Trustee Todd, second by Trustee Brewer. Any questions?
Comment. These minutes don't have an adjourn time at the tail end of them. I don't know if anybody knows what time that meeting happened to adjourn, but it's not reflected in these minutes. At the same time, the ayes are at 5 when they should be 6, since all 6 trustees were present that night. That's it for my comments.
Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk, should you please call the roll?
Brewer. Yes. Grant.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Tate. No. Todd. Yes. P.L.A.N.
No.
Motion is carried. Motion to approve the executive session minutes for June 6, 2016.
Because you that I'm sorry, we would have just gone to bed and then.
You did some of that?
We didn't have it, no, we couldn't find anything.
All right, then we'll put that on hold until the next meeting. Motion to approve the board minutes, regular board minutes meeting for June 13, 2017. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by Trustee Todd, second by Trustee Brewer. Any questions? Madam Clerk?
Brewer. Yes. Grant.
Yes.
Jones.
Abstain.
Tate.
No.
Todd. Yes. P.L.A.N.
No.
Abstention goes with the majority. Motion is carried. Public comment. All questions and comments must be directed to the mayor. Each speaker may comment on any matter pertaining to the business of Sauk Village. Each speaker is allowed one opportunity to speak for up to 3 minutes and may not engage in debate. Please state your name when you come up to the mic.
My name is Jackie Blaze. I would like to take this time to thank the men on the 2 public works trucks and the 2 officers that helped my son on 223rd Street in Yates. They found him passed out from bee stings. They called the ambulance to check on him. Jason drove him home to my house because they wouldn't let my son drive. And he then later was able to drive home. Thank you again to the men of Public Works and the Police Department. On a more gloomier note, I did a little homework. I found out the paperback books that were removed from the senior center by Bernice were thrown in the garbage. Only 20 books did the library take. The rest were wet and moldy because they were kept in the trunk of 2 cars, not in boxes. They were told if they boxed them up, the library would have taken them, but they will not take them loose. I don't know what happened to the racks. I was told Public Works had them, so I really don't know what happened. Those racks were $1,000 a piece, and they were donated to the village. A lot of the books that were thrown away were large print. They were formerly owned by seniors. I'd like to know what you're going going to do about this waste of senior property and village property, and release a line about the situation. That's all.
Okay, first of all, are you referring to trustee Brewer?
Yes,
Okay. Because that's the way we refer to if it's an elected official, you know, mayor, trustee. As far as you said waste of space, I don't know what you mean. The community center is open every day from 9 to 5.
I didn't say wasted space.
What did you say? You said about this waste of space at the senior center, correct? What did you say?
Just ask what you're going to do about this waste of senior property.
Okay, I'm sorry. Lack of a better word, waste of space, senior property, the senior center. Senior center is open every day from 9 to 5.
I know that.
Okay, so it's not a waste. Anyone can come. They don't have to have any special ID, anything. They can come and they can utilize the facilities every single day, Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. I've done that since the beginning of July. July 1st, July 2nd was when it was open. As far as the books, ma'am, I can't answer for something I don't know. I was told that they were, you know, taken wherever. So I personally didn't see any books in the garbage. I personally didn't see anything. The last time I was over there, as far as the racks concerned, I did see those racks. If they're not there today, I hadn't been there today, then they must have left yesterday. But they were there, so all I can tell you is they were there. I think someone was supposed to come pick them up. Who that was, I have no idea.
Will you check on the books, because I get this
If you,
from the
okay,
library.
we're gonna stop back
That's
and
it.
forth, but if you just told me that the books were thrown away and they're wet, what can I do about that, other than to find out what happened?
Please, find out what.
Thank you.
That's all I ask.
Rose Ketchum. I would like to first thank you all for letting bluegrass come back in. It's been very successful. You should all come up and listen to the music. It's not just bluegrass, it's country, old country, not just new stuff. And it's gospel. It's very good music. We've been having a full house all the time. We only have one slight problem, and that's the books. A lot of the bluegrass people that were coming in, they were getting the books and bringing them back. They liked it that way because they didn't have the deadline to bring them back and have to pay a fee. They can read the small print, believe me. I had one woman come in 2 weeks ago, and she brought her books back, and she went in to exchange them, and she couldn't exchange them. She said, what happened to the books? I said, you can't read the small print. That's what we were told. So they got rid of all of them. She says, well, what do I do with these books? Well, there was other women there to take them, so they didn't go to waste. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Kathy Betcher. First, I'd like to commend the police department. Yesterday, there was about 15 of our youths.
Can't hear you.
Yesterday, there was about 15 of our youths armed with baseball bats and different things that were going to have a fight out in front of 221st and Paxton. Before I even hung up the phone with the police department, there were policemen on scene and dispersed before the punch was thrown. I commend you. That is wonderful. Second, it's came to my attention that ESDA, or I think it's ESDA, they're our first responders and they're first on scene 90% of the time, whatever, and they're not trained in basic life-saving procedures. I believe that we should, if they're first on scene, it's more important to save a life than to direct traffic. So I think that we should train our ESDA people at least in CPR and basic life safety procedures. Just my thoughts. Thank you.
Okay, in regards to, I was gonna answer your question.
Okay.
I was gonna say in regards to Homeland Security, they're first, but they're not first on the scene. I mean, they come out and assist the police and fire. But a lot of times they're not first on the scene. And as far as what you were asking about being trained, right now we have 2 people in there, emergency management services. We're open for more people to volunteer, and yes, they will all, anyone that joins will be trained through the cost of the village. The village has to pay for that. So I appreciate what you said, and I'm sure the police chief appreciated what you just stated as far as them coming out to assist in any problem that was came about on Paxton. And I'm glad to hear that they was out there on a timely manner. Thank you. Yes.
Judy Cast here. A while back, I asked a few questions, and you had to look into it, and I haven't heard anything since then. And I would like to make a statement that from the 1960s until right now, I have been 100% advocate of our police department, the Sauk Village Police Department. I will remain an advocate of the Sauk Village Police Department, regardless of who sits in those seats up there, who wears the chief's badge, or what happens. I will back our police department. And my question to you before was, I asked about the mold in the police station, and we had that supposedly taken care of during the previous administration, but it was dropped very quickly and it wasn't talked about again. I would like to know if it is indeed gone, and if it is, you gotta have a plan so it doesn't happen again. Secondly, I asked about the vests for the police officers, and we didn't have an answer at that time either, and I would like to know about the vests and whether they're all up to date and what's happening with that. I would like to see all of our police officers up to date on the safety issues. As far as ESDA goes, I happen to be in the area where they were taking care of a few things, and I have to say that even with just 2 of them, they did an outstanding job. And they do need people, but in the meantime, the 2 people are great.
Okay, as far as the mold, I thought I'd address that, but the mold issue has been addressed. I personally saw it myself. They have put new walls in. They're renovating that area down there, and our ESDA, I don't know why I keep saying ESDA, but our Homeland Security Department will be down there soon. That will be their new office. So we cannot put them down there unless we've taken care of that. So they're gonna have new facilities down there. The walls and everything that had mold on it is gone, and they're putting new walls up. So as we speak right now, all that's being taken care of. As far as the police vest, I'll talk to the chief, and the chief will probably have that on his report, since when he talks, doing his report, and give you an update. Yes, we cannot have them out there with not updated vests. That is, something that we have to make sure that we do. We do take that very seriously, that they have their vests are up to date. So I'm sure he's going to address that at that time. And I think that was it.
Thanks.
Thank you. That's it. Okay, reports from officers. Oh, you got someone else? I'm sorry.
My name is Janet Cameron.
Could you speak up a little bit, ma'am?
My name is Janet Cameron. I live at 218-17 Lady snakes. Well, I didn't ask you to come out there and do the snakes. I just asked somebody to to get the cement back down where it's supposed to be, to keep the snakes from coming, and they're crawling all on my sidewalk, my driveway. And I've been calling, talking to your secretary about that, maybe about a month or so ago.
And your last, I didn't get your last name.
Cameron,
C-A-M?
E-R-O-N.
Okay. And as far as the snakes are concerned, the sidewalk, that is on the list. And that's something that we will address that issue by the worst to the least of the worst. So obviously, if yours hasn't been taken care of yet, we got some that are even worse. Will it stop the snakes? Doubt it. But if it makes you feel better, we will be taking care of, and you said it's at a point, correct?
Right.
Okay, so that's something that's really horrific, and we will be taking care of those within this summer. Can I tell you exact date? I can't tell you when, but those areas have been addressed. We have a list. We have a sheet that we take pictures. So, and as far as you said, someone told you that we don't take care of snakes.
Your secretary.
My secretary told you that we don't take care of snakes? Okay, I'll address that issue because that's not a response that should be disseminated. I'm sorry that happened in that way.
All right.
Thank you. That's it, okay. All right, our reports from officers. Bid opening. Mrs. Slattery, could you come up? The first bid that I'm going to open is a bid that we put out for bid for the cleaning services for the village buildings, which will be the station and the community center. And we've had just one bid to come back. So I just want to open this up and read it to you. Because the company that we have now will be retiring after many, many years of distinguished service with the village, and they're going to, as I stated, retire. This is from Reju Services, and it was submitted to the village of Sauk Village. Okay, it was stamped August 7th at 11:04. They're bidding to do the work 3 days per week. They're also bidding to buy all supplies. They have a job specification, what they will, of their duties and how they're going to disseminate their job specifications. This will be on record, by the way. Okay. They put the bids in, and that's what I thought. This looks like they put the bids in for different areas, and I'm gonna name them as I see them. Village Hall, 3 days a week at $870 per month. As I stated, they would buy all the equipment. The second one is for the police department for 5 days a week at $966 a month. They have all the specifications there for that. And the third one is for the community center at 3 days a week at $435 a month. Oh, no, I take that, no, this, wait a minute. Yeah, the Pazel Center. The Pazel Center is $435 a month. So I guess the village is, I have to look at this a little bit deeper, and this will be disseminated to all the trustees, but these are the three, I think it all boils down to $2,200 a month for all three areas. But I'll pass this on to the clerk, and she will pass it on. Okay, the second bid that we're opening today is for the Winpack Way Logistics Center that's located right off of Mark Collins Drive, right in front of Winpack. This money was already put aside back when they built Winpack. So it's not a matter of that, it's a matter of making sure the bids are correct. And that's why I have Mr. Tom Slattery, engineer for Baxter and Woodman. He's our engineer, and for this project over there, it is in the TIF. So my first time opening it, I just want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly, so that's why I call an expert in. I'll open the bid, he'll look at it to make sure that we have everything. And trustees, you have your papers in front of you that you can the first one is from Gallagher Asphalt. Okay, the signature page is there. Okay. Okay, the bond bid is there. The apprenticeship and training is present. Okay, the affidavit, there's number 5 on your sheet, that's been filled out correctly. And the amount that they're looking to do the work for is $177,606.31. $177,606.31. That's for Gallagher. The next bid is D Construction. D as in David Construction. Okay, the signature page is correct. The bid bond is complete. The apprenticeship and training certification is completed. And the affidavit of Illinois business form is complete. And the amount is $192,501 even. $192,501 even. And the last one is Iroquois Paving Company. Signature page is complete. The bid bond is complete. The apprenticeship and training certification is complete. The affidavit is complete. And the amount is $226,323.02. 226-323-02. Okay, I'm going to give these over to our engineer, Mr. Slattery, and he will be coming back with a qualified. Doesn't necessarily have to be the lowest, but the one that's the lowest that's qualified. And we will be voting on this next week at our special meeting at 6 o'clock. Madam Clerk, your report.
No report.
Okay. Village Engineer, Mrs. Zani.
Thank you, Mayor. I have good news. The village was awarded a $75,000 grant from Cook County for improvements to 223rd Street and Cornell Avenue. The grant will cover a portion of the cost to reconstruct the roadway and provide drainage improvements. The grant was awarded based on a new initiative called Invest in Cook that stems from the county's Connecting Cook County Planning document, which is a long-range transportation plan. This document identifies 6 priorities for improving the region's transportation network. Robinson Engineering was able to identify a project that matched a number of the county's priorities and therefore would be eligible for the funding. Fortunately, Cook County recognized that Sauk Village's project was a good fit for the county's transportation improvement initiative and therefore awarded the village the grant. We look forward to utilizing this money for next year's 223rd Street and Cornell Avenue roadway improvements project. That concludes my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Reports from departments, heads, committees, and commissions. Fire Chief, Mr. Al Stoffrager.
Mayor and Board. Over the past 2 weeks, Fire Department responded to 20 calls. 3 fire alarms, 1 lift assist, 6 ambulance PD assist, 4 vehicle accidents, 3 COs, 1 still alarm, and 1 structure fire. National Night Out was wonderful. It was great to see the community come together. The fire demonstration went well, and we're looking for new firefighters to stop by for an application. On an ending note, on August the 27th, from 8 till 12, we'll be having our Fire Association pancake breakfast. Adults are $5, seniors and kids 4 years to 17 years old, $4. Kids 3 years old and under 3. And that ends my report, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Police Chief, Mr. Robert Kowalski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, trustees. For the last 2 weeks, we had 458 calls of service with 10 arrests. Cases of interest. On August 1st, the Sauk Village Detective Division, along with other members of the South Suburban Major Crimes Task Force, were able to secure direct indictments from the Cook County State's Attorney's Office on 2 additional offenders involved in the shooting and murder of the victim, which occurred on the 21700 block of Peterson back last year, August 14th, 2016. This case involved several victims who were shot by unknown offenders in a drive-by type shooting. The investigators were persistent in seeking out these charges on individuals who were tied to the shooting. The investigators continued to gather evidence and information which led to the charges of these 2 additional offenders. Bond for both offenders were set at $1 million and $1.5 million each. National Night Out. As Fire Chief mentioned, Sauk Village hosted the yearly National Night Out on August 1st from 6 to 8. I'd like to personally thank you, Mr. Mayor, and the village trustees for their participation, and in particular, Trustee Todd and Trustee Zupan, as well as Village Clerk Marva Campbell Pruitt for their coordination of the food and drinks. I'd also like to thank Walgreens, Title Mix, Culver's, and ComEd for their generous donations. In addition, I'd like to thank DJ Steve LaRock, Dave Lyon from Protective Services, and the Bloom Township Summer Workers for their participation. We're also honored to have State Representative L.G. Sims and State Senator Donnie Trotter stop by and be part of our celebration of the community partnerships. In addition, I'd like to thank the Sauk Village Fire Department and Emergency Service Disaster Agency, ESDA, for their fire demonstration, which I thought went pretty well. The Police Department and Public Works who did a great job of setting up and cleaning up afterwards. Lastly, our unsung heroes. I'd like to thank Mary Klopp and Nicole Welch from the Police Department who helped put this together in a short amount of time. This was a great event for members of the community who came together to build connections within the village and share safety awareness and information among their neighbors. Thank you again, and I look forward to even a better event next year. Now, to answer the vest grant, or the vest issue. We recently purchased 8 vests for officers that was, and Sherry. She was instrumental in National Night Out too, thanks. Anyway, back to the vests. We recently purchased 7 vests. So all the officers have updated vests. We put in for a Justice Department grant, which we are waiting a few more months for payment on those vests. We also purchased new vests for our South Suburban Emergency Response Team members, the 2 members on our police department. The next vest that will expire next July. So we'll be looking at replacing those starting in May because there's a 3-month lag period from the time of ordering. I've got it all marked in my calendar on a spreadsheet, and I keep up on that. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that update. I hope everyone understands that we have to make sure that these vests are up to date, that they don't expire, because it saves people's lives, basically our police officers. And we cannot afford that a vest to be outdated or not up to date or not correctly even worn, because they do have classes for that, because that's their first line of defense, that vest is. So I appreciate the update. Thank you so much. Emergency Management Association Director, Mr. Alvin Vavrick.
Thank you, Mayor and the board. Just a side note, I want to thank the police department and the fire department. We were called out for a search and rescue, searching for an elderly gentleman who walked away from his house. I want to thank Sergeant Langle. Me and Sergeant Langle stayed out an extra 2 hours. We eventually found the gentleman. He was in between a couple houses, crashed out on a sidewalk. We got him back home, and everybody was safe and sound. So I want to thank the police and the fire department for the initial response, helping out, and then the actual location of the person. That is my report.
Thank you, sir. Public Works Director, Mr. Kevin Weller. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't see, that's what happened. Economic Development Director, Mr. Joseph Wiswater.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had a conference call with representatives from Chicago Metropolitan Agency on Planning, CMAP, to discuss the village's request for local technical assistance with respect to the village's comprehensive plan. The 1-hour call was a part of their interview process to gain a deeper knowledge of the scope of the project and the level of commitment from the village. As previously reported, we've applied for funding for the comprehensive plan update, which will be about $100,000 to $150,000 in local technical assistance. We will find out in the second week of October if Sauk Village has been selected for funding for this project. CMAP completed the Village of Crete's comprehensive plan last year as part of their local technical assistance that they requested. Once we have been selected, there would be about a 90-day preparation period, and the comprehensive plan process would begin sometime January of 2018. It is typical that projects of this magnitude would take between 18 to 24 months, so I would expect completion of the comprehensive plan in the third or fourth quarter of 2019. Mayor Burgess and I attended Chicago Southland Economic Development Corporation Summer Forum in Flossmoor, which was held Friday, July 28th. I'm very pleased to report that as a result of this event, I've set up meetings with commercial developers who are interested in locations here in Sauk Village. In searching out properties owned by the village over the course of the last several weeks, I discovered a parcel of land that the village acquired in 1968, which was never annexed into the village. I'll be preparing information for the mayor so that an ordinance can be drafted and an annexation plat obtained on the property, and it can finally be annexed into the village after 49 years. I would also ask that the village board add Mark Pruitt to the committee of the whole meeting agenda for next week. Mr. Pruitt represents CSEDC Solar Development, which is an extension of Chicago Southland Economic Development Corporation. He would like to discuss what they're able to do for the village in terms of vetting potential solar developments. Believe it or not, I've actually had a meeting with an individual who is seeking out land leases from in and around Sauk Village for the purpose of constructing these solar farms. Illinois negotiated with Exelon on legislation to purchase solar energy credits, which has put some serious money on the table for funding solar energy projects. Finally, we will continue to update the village's economic development page on the web on an ongoing basis. These updates will be on the economic development page as well, and we will be working on adding online business application processes as well as the updates to the village's overall website. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Wiswater. Okay, Public Works Director Kevin Weller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ongoing landscaping. A lot of residents are calling in about the landscaping. Once the budget's been approved now, and we had a discussion in one of our meetings about possibly using some of the money that we didn't spend on some of the road work this year for some of the concrete work. So I'm hoping we'll be starting on that shortly. We'll start off on what we budgeted, and then we'll discuss some more of that. There's some residents that have complaints about some sidewalk slabs. The one on Olivia, we did take a look at that. There's actually 2 houses that are part of that sidewalk area there. One of the problems is there's a tree in the upper yard of the one address. It's a giant cottonwood tree. It's causing the slabs to tilt sideways. It's lifting them up completely. So when we do rip that slab out of there, we're going to damage that tree, and that potentially could cause the death of that tree. Cottonwoods are pretty bad when you hit the roots. So we are aware of that. We will be locating or marking those locations with red paint and barricades at this point, and anything that is too hazardous will be pulled out and gravel will be put in its place. Second issue, pothole patching. We had some complaints last meeting on the south side of town. We did address some of the heavier ones. We're still ongoing on the south side, so if you haven't been addressed yet, we will be moving along into those areas. Continue on the south side. Street lights, some issues we've been dealing with quite often, and the one is 214 43 Peterson. We did find the problem. It appears that there's like 3 or 4 hits on the line going underground to the back of the power source. So we are currently locating the backyards right now to try to do an underground cable replacement. When we do, in any new construction, it's a lot easier to replace a cable because there's no trees, there's no fences, etc. Right now there's trees, fences, and all this stuff in the way, so this is going to be a lot of hand digging rather than just sending a trencher through here. So it will take a little longer than normal than just trenching or boring. We also had a complaint of 2 streetlights out in an area that was, there was an incident with the police department on Clyde and Chappelle. On 223rd Place, there is a line pole. Both of those streets actually go to a center line pole, and then they go to a backyard. A big elm tree in the backyard causing the wire to be frayed open. It caused that wire to be damaged, so it's been repaired. So both of those lights are currently working. Grass cutting vacant lots, the seasonal help that we had brought on, they're helping us a lot. They're catching up on all village locations, and they're also moving into the home lots. To date, 68 total houses were checked, 26 of those were cut. So it appears that the residents are very thankful for that. They are cutting the lots, or somebody is cutting these lots for us, because we're not really coming across a lot of ones that need it. Sanitary sewer complaints, we've only had one complaint in the month of July, but we have an ongoing problem. I discussed 2 weeks ago about 215th and Orion. We had a lot of debris dropped in the manholes out there. We had a backup that we've been dealing with for the last 2 days. It ends up being in the field between Orion and Torrance Avenue. It's a farm field currently with corn in it. This is going to be a problem to work on either way, but we may have to call a contractor to help us vac out these manholes. We have it open right now. There's no backup right now, but to say it's not going to just push its way down, it's probably going to be the next issue. We are keeping an eye on it, though. Dead tree complaints, residents calling in. I did discuss last meeting about the hazards. We had 2 hazards we dealt with. One was 1929 Sauk Trail. Large sycamore tree overtaking the sidewalk. Branches almost touching the ground. It was in a vacant house, so we trimmed that up and took care of that. 1909 Sauk Trail, large branch in the tree, falling out of the tree, that was taken care of. And 22544 Yates, similar situation, branch broke off, hanging in the tree, very hazardous. So we're not forgetting about the trees, but currently those were the hazards that we had to deal with. Also, bee boxes. We've had a large call for more bee box digging right now, so that's going to shift some of the water operations right to bee box digs. These are rehabbers that need the bee box repaired so they can continue to work. It's also residents who have issues in their homes that they wish to repair. So we're currently going through a short list of those, and then we'll be moving into some other water operations. Park repairs. We have currently repaired 3 of the parks with the current equipment that's in them. We still have some issues with the center island equipment, the slides, but at least right now at this point we've put the mulch into all these locations. We still have a few more to go, and they'll be continuing that ongoing. I have one side note. We had some bricks from the memorial from the last administration that were dropped off at Brick Crafters in Stager, and we went to pick them up, and they said somebody stopped by in a white truck with a shaved head. We don't know anybody about that. They didn't take a name, but they gave them to them at this point. So I'm not sure who that might be, but if anybody might know them or know who has those bricks, please let us know. Not sure. The shelves that were in the senior center, we were asked to remove those 2 spare shelves that they did not need at that time. We brought them to the library to ask if they needed them. We were told at that time we're not. They're currently now at the Public Works garage. They're still intact as of they're not been thrown out yet, but we still have them. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Kevin. You said shelves or?
Bookshelves.
Bookshelves, okay. Thank you. Finance and Administration, Mr. Mohan. Wow.
Thank you, Mayor and the board. I have no report.
You may have some questions later. Community Development, Ms. Sherry Jazinski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. August 3rd, court call for code enforcement. We had 223 tickets on the docket. 5 were found not guilty, 12 were found guilty, 3 were given continuances to September 7th, and 203 were found guilty and defaulted for non-appearance, and fines were doubled. I also sent out 10 new lien letters for utility bills that are owed to the village. They have 14 days to pay in full, or I will be filing liens on the properties. I also sent out 25 property maintenance letters for the businesses along Sauk Trail. C. James Auto and IDOT were given tickets for non-compliance. Their building is in terrible shape, and the next move is another set of tickets, and then my goal is to shut them down, revoke their business license. I also been giving Mr. Panos along Sauk Trail, the businesses, tickets for all the weeds that are growing through the rocks in the parkway, their dumpster areas, and all the litter that is all around the properties. The businesses look terrible, and I've been trying to stay on top of them, and I will continue to do so. The gas station just pulled all the weeds, and they sealed their parking lot. Popeyes paid two fines today of $500, and they pulled a permit to replace that brick enclosure for the dumpster. So the businesses are starting to get on board with what I'm asking them to do. And then Sue went down to the Daily Center downtown 3 times last week to obtain ownership for 16 properties that were on the no cash bid program. The village has obtained ownership of these properties. Once all the paperwork is complete, they will be mailed to the village, and the documents will then be turned over to the mayor. And I know that the mayor is interested in doing a demolition on the old hometown and possibly the dry cleaners. So that would conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all good. Unfinished business. I'll entertain a motion to approve an ordinance amending section 2-181 of the expense reimbursement policy D. Or I sure did, didn't I? I must be with
Guess what it is?
I saw them leaving. I thought maybe okay, I'm sorry. Reports from trustees, public services, and senior committee. Trustee Bernice Brewer.
The VFW, who's currently at the senior center, and they haven't been there for the last 8 years, they won't be back, so
Oh, VFW. I thought you said B. Okay.
I'm sorry. They won't be back in like when they're back. So, they won't be back for a while. The center's open from 9 to 5, and we can't hear that. We can't hear you. The center's open from 9 to 5.
Is the microphone on?
Won't be back.
I don't think the mic's on. Nah, it is.
VFW, can you hear that? Yes. A little better. That's real. VFW won't be back to Sauk Village. And also, racks were donated also to a teacher at Rickover, and she took the majority of the other 2 went to Public Works. Mr. Harvey removed the paperback books that were there, and he took them to the library, and they were donated back to the library. And as far as infrastructure and stuff, we're still putting all the information together. Once we get together, we'll have a meeting. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Trustee Brewer. Budget and Finance Trustee Roderick R. Grant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This Friday, the Budget and Finance Committee will be sitting down with Mohan to go over the, finalizing the Finance Policy and Procedures Manual. So we'll be going over that with him, and then we'll be presenting something to the board shortly. Also, next week, the Budget and Finance Committee was supposed to meet next Wednesday, but I need to push that back to the following Wednesday, the 23rd, at 7 o'clock, same location here in the Rotunda. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee. Parks and Recs, Trustee Kelvin Jones.
Corn and dog roast is set, and there are flyers around. That's for September 16th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Summer camp has ended. It ended a week early due to funds. Pretty much, Miss Patricia Denson, who's running the program, she pretty much been footing the bill. The majority of the kids pretty much came in for free. They pretty much went to, as long as she was able to fund it, and her funds ran out, and that concluded the summer program a week early. But there was a lot of things we learned this time around, once again, and we're going to try to come back again next year, and hopefully we could work out some of the bugs and kinks that we ran into this year. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee. Housing and Intergovernmental, Trustee Cecil Tate.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Ordinance Review and Beautification, Trustee Linda Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our next meeting for the Ordinance Review Committee will be August 28th at 6:30 p.m. here at the Village Hall. And then as far as beautification, you know, we're always looking for volunteers. I hate to beat the drum every week, but we're looking for volunteers. But I want to say thank you to the Bloom Township kids this year. We had some awesome kids, and they really helped me out. Now, I'm not sure who went over to 394 over by the restaurant, but someone weed whacked it, because I can see flowers in there that we have. But I actually want to like empty that out, you know, because I don't know about maintaining it. But again, we need volunteers, so that concludes my report.
Thank you, trustee. Public safety, trustee Beth Zupan.
Thank you, Mayor. Our committee had its first meeting last week. We were a very small group, so again, I ask for those who are interested to reach out to me. We talked about our mission statement, our path going forward, and we also did agree on a standing meeting schedule of the first Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. here at Village Hall. So our next meeting would be September 6th. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, trustee. Now, unfinished business. I'll entertain a motion to approve an ordinance amending section 2-181, titled Expense Reimbursement Policy D, Maximum Allowable Expenses, and approval of expenses of Division 1 generally of the Article 4 office officials and employees of the municipal code of the Village of Sauk Village and Will and Cook counties.
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by trustee Todd and second by trustee Jones. Any questions? It's basically changing. I usually don't do this, but I'll just do this for this one time. It's basically changing the per diem that was changed 2 years ago that will allow us to actually go to meetings, go to conferences, I'll put it that way. Madam Clerk.
I have a question. Sorry. Since we didn't get a chance to talk about this in committee meeting before.
We talked about this like 3 times.
Okay, sorry. So I thought there were still changes coming out after that. So apologies, I must have missed that somewhere. On the last page, before you get into where the vote is recorded, under approval expenses, that third paragraph there talks about documentation of expenses must be provided in accordance with sections D, D, and F of this policy. Are there really 2 section Ds?
Let's see if I have the one in front of me. Okay. Section D, there's 1D, maximum allowable expenses, and no, there's only 1D. And then it does tell you what the expenses, and it gives you a itemization. But there is only one, and you said, you're right, policy D.
You see what I'm talking about there in that paragraph?
Reimbursement policy D, maximum and E.
Yeah, so I didn't know if that should be D, E, and F, or
No, it's
D and F?
D and E. You only have D and E in here, you don't have an F.
Right, but it states D, D, and F.
Yeah.
Where
It should
do
be
you go?
D, E, and F.
Do you see, oh, okay, I'm sorry. What I have on here is expense reimbursement policy, D, maximum allowable expenses, and E, approval of expenses. You said yours says D?
Yep.
Yes, they do.
Okay. Then, okay, I'm sorry, but yeah, it should be D and E. So it should be DD.
Right.
So thank you for bringing that up. So, because it should, I have, the copy that I have is D and E. But then again, I'm not saying that yours is not there, but yeah.
So should we amend the motion
Well, you
to
could,
reflect?
well, I read D and E, so do you want to, I mean, I read D and E, so you can retract your motion and second, and I can read it again. But I did read D and E.
So Beth, you wanna, I'm sorry, trustee Zupan, you wanna amend this? Pull it back and,
Who made
see,
the
I
motion?
don't,
Who
I
made
made the motion.
Okay, then you want to rescind your motion?
I'll rescind the motion.
And who made the second?
rescind my second.
You second, okay, I'll read it.
How about if I make the motion and you can yell at me when I go astray?
No, but you said you had D and D on yours.
I move we approve an ordinance amending section 2.181, expense reimbursement policy D for maximum allowable expenses, and E, approval of expenses of Division 1, generally of Article 4, officials and employees of Municipal Code of the Village of Sauk Village of Cook and Will Counties, Illinois, with the amendment in section E of the ordinance itself, paragraph 3, last sentence to read sections D and E of this policy.
Okay, so you're talking about, okay, now I see what you're talking, not the motion, you're talking about the actual
Content
ordinance,
of
the ordinance. Okay, D, E, and F, okay. There was a motion, there was a second.
Second.
It was moved by trustee Zupan, and second by trustee Todd. Are there any questions? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Tate?
No.
Trustee Todd?
Yes.
Trustee Zupan?
Yes.
Trustee Brewer?
Abstain.
Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Next item,
May I ask trustee Zupan to give me a copy of that motion that you changed?
Sure.
also on the unfinished business, we're showing up to the last point. If you guys have any changes for the strategic plan for progress, please submit them, because we will be pushing on this pretty soon. We've been doing it all for the last 2 months, so we're gonna start incorporating this. So if you have any, don't wait till the last minute. If you have
Got a
anything.
question?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you didn't ask for questions. I didn't want you to
I
forget.
wasn't through, I was just.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I'll wait, I'm sorry.
No, I wasn't asking for a vote for this.
Okay. No, I don't want to vote, I got a question.
Okay, no, I was just asking, I was just saying, if you have anything, please submit it, and we can go over it. Like I stated before, this has been ongoing for the last 2 months, so we'd like to get started on this so we can try to incorporate this into our way of doing things. Now, you said you have a question.
It was my understanding that we're supposed to get a revised version of the strategic plan, and was I the only one that didn't get one?
No, I thought the same thing.
Okay, so we never got a revised.
You won't get a revised until I get all of the input. In other words, I'm not gonna keep revising and someone changes this and revising and someone changes that. Once you submit everything, then you will get a copy, a final copy, and then we'll go over from there. That's why I'm asking. I gave 2 months. Hopefully, maybe another 3 weeks or a month. Then we can compile it all together, then you'll get a copy. But I'm not gonna print 15 different times that we don't like this sentence or that one.
Mr. Mayor, can you give everybody like a date that we have to have it by you?
I'm hoping that you can have it by the end of this month.
Okay, so everything's due to you by August?
Everything's due to you by the end of this month.
Okay.
Would you prefer we email it to you?
Yes, I mean, you can mail it, you can email it, you can do whatever.
Okay.
Doesn't, whichever's easiest. I just need to, so I can incorporate that data into that. That was a good thing, Madam Clerk. Yes, please email it to me so this one I don't have to retype, because I don't type good. Thank you. All right. Anything else, Madam?
Mr. Mayor, there's a couple unfinished businesses that's not included under here. So where did we talk about that there, you know?
Did you have something for unfinished business?
Well, yeah, I got
Did you submit something to the clerk for unfinished business?
Well, I'm thinking she should put it on there, but I'm
That's what
not
I'm
quite
saying, you
sure.
did. Because everything that's on here is
No, I
submitted
didn't
to
do
the
it,
clerk.
no.
And everything that goes on in the agenda is submitted to the clerk ahead of time, so we can that's how we make up the agenda. So you have something, we can't discuss it now if it's not on here, is what I'm
Okay,
saying.
proper procedure, I'll give it.
Okay, so if you have something, say for next week, which will be committee meeting, please submit your questions. Well, she may have something else.
No, I'm just wondering how do we, what's the policy, what's the procedure?
The procedure is to submit whatever it is you like to put on the agenda the week before to the village clerk.
Okay.
By what date and time?
By at least Wednesday, hopefully, or latest Thursday of the week prior to that. So to next week will be committee. Hopefully she can get what you need to be put on there by Wednesday. And at the latest Thursday, so she can disseminate and get the agenda together. Any questions? New business. I'll entertain a motion to approve accounts payable and disbursements for the week, for the time of August 8, 2017, per Sauk Village policy.
Question.
We gotta make a motion first.
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by trustee Todd, second by trustee Zupan. Questions?
Question. Mr. Mayor, on page, one, it indicates down here that we're paying the Orange Group like, $6,000 or so.
Yes.
And, now this is for some consulting work. And, this particular line item belongs to the HR personnel in the, according to what I know from accounting. It belongs to the HR personnel. The Orange Group has a different line item number. So are we paying the HR person or are we paying the Owens Group?
We're paying the Owens Group.
So I was under the impression that consulting was included in the premiums that we pay the Owens Group every year. Or is that extra?
That's extra, if it exceeds, that's extra, yes. The Owens Group is the consulting firm. That's who they are. We've contracted them last year, I think it was.
Okay, well, then my impression is the Owens Group, their line number, shouldn't this go under the Owens Group, and their line number is 10026070800. Shouldn't that go under Owens Group? Why is it going under the HR? It seems like we paying.
What do you see? What do you see?
That's from research.
Okay.
Okay, this is not the Owens Group line number.
You mean account number?
Yeah, no, the line number, we're paying account number.
Trustee, if I can jump in here, please. The line items are for the types of services rendered, they're not tied to who is receiving the payment. So, this particular two line items that you're referring to happens to be paid to the Owens Group. If we were paying HR services to a different provider, those would be listed here as well. The general ledger numbers are set to the part of the village that is funding what is being paid. It's not set up by who is being paid.
Trustee Zupan, still, I'm going back to my question. The Owens Group should be reimbursed under 10026070800. I want to know why this person right here, or what are we paying? He right here in this particular 726. We're paying general, if you look on your budget report, this is paying an individual. The Owens Group is not an individual and they should be paid under 708. And this is not 708.
You're talking about the GL number, correct? Is that what you?
The line number 100005726. That's not the Owens Group. that's an individual that's paying the HR person. That's the individual HR person.
What's the title of the general ledger that you're rattling off?
Say that again.
You just rattled off a general ledger number. What does that general ledger number refer to?
It refers to the Owens Group.
But that's a payee, it's not a general ledger. So if you go through these, you know, it's the general fund for administration, there's part for the police department, the water, sewer, elected officials. HR gets paid out of the general fund administration portion of the budget. That's why it's located here, regardless of who it is that you're paying.
When we do an accounts payable, you want everything to be right. And this particular line, number 100005726 is wrong. It's not the Owens Group.
Just let me.
Can somebody explain that to me?
Just let me chime in for 1 sec. So if I look at the budget, and if you look on page 37, we have the HR services. It doesn't say Owens Group, but HR services, which is the Owens Group. And the GL number is 100005726.000, which is the same as we're speaking of right here. So there's no difference in the GL number. So I'm not sure what number are you referencing or research, but if you look in the budget, it's the same exact GL number.
Hold on a minute.
Trustees, okay, my question is this, trustee. Did you get a chance to research this before?
I talked to Mohan about it, and he told me that this is for an HR person. He didn't say this was for the Owens Group.
But the HR person works for the Owens Group. So it's not a separate, we're not paying anyone separately. This is part of the invoice comes in from the Owens Group. We're paying the invoice. That's why it's clumped that way, because it's an invoice that's being paid. There's nothing on there paying the HR or human resources, as anyone may understand with HR. Excuse me, is paying the Owens Group, which is who we have a contract with for consulting.
I understand that, Mr. Mayor, but I'm saying the line number is wrong. And
Trustee Brewer, can you read me the GL number that you're referencing?
Right now, I think I left it at home. But on page 37, it specifically says 726 is the HR services, right? And then if we go on page,
If you look at that line item, it matches what's here.
I understand that, but that's not the Owens Group, it's an HR person.
Correct. And I think what you've confused is that payees probably have a number in our system as well for tracking purposes, which is different than general ledgers.
And on page, if you look in your budget on page,
I don't have my budget.
I have a copy.
Okay, on copy to page 100260708.
No, what page number are we talking?
I don't know what the page. It's the Owens Group.
Okay, what's the number?
100260708 is the Owens Group. Now, you was telling me we got two things that says that Owens Group, we paying amount of two different line numbers. Is that what you're telling me?
It depends on what we've contracted for and what services. And so if we are contracting with them for something out of the TIF net, for example, that would come out of a different GL number, and it wouldn't be that number either.
So is this right here, this is HR, paid out of general fund.
Wait, could you say, so you said, I apologize, 10026070800?
708000.
So I see on page 47 that comes from the insurance GL number, and I don't think insurance and human resources are two different things. So I think that we should, the one that's stated is correct, the 100005726.000. I'm not sure how those relate as far as insurance.
On page 47, that's not the Owens Group?
No, that's under insurance, liability insurance.
And we don't pay the Owens Group for liability insurance?
Yeah, we use them as a broker, but again, they're the payee for what we've contracted with them for. So we can contract with them for different things, and depending on what it is that they're providing from a services perspective, can get paid from different places.
So in other words, we paying the HR person on what we paying the $6,000 for?
Yeah, that's for HR services. That's for her, but she's an employee of.
That's my question I was trying to get at. We paying the HR person. That's all I need to know.
Any other questions?
I got a question. On page 3, we have a computer repair network by Edge Consulting, and this is out of Police Department for $765. Is that Gerald? He does that, or is he called somewhere else?
So Gerald does fall under Edge Consulting. Where are you looking at?
Page 3.
Page 3, and where exactly? Yeah, so everything that's Edge Consulting is Gerald. I know that he has 2 different, I guess what you would call, I guess line items. It's Edge Consulting, and then there's also like a, if I can find it here, computer repair.
Yeah, actually, you will see Edge Consulting multiple times in this particular accounts payable, and it's because the different departments are getting different services from him. And again, going back to, you see the police department GL separate from public works, separate from administration. That's why you see it in multiple places, because it's coming out of each department's budget separately.
On page 1, also there's Edge Consulting where he reimbursed for equipment for purchases, $1,062. Can anybody tell me what equipment he bought? I know it's for general fund. He bought additional equipment. Can anybody tell me what's that for? What equipment did he buy?
So I did ask, and I heard that this was for computers. That's all I was told. And
this is equipment, it says, reimbursement equipment.
I see, but I'm not sure.
Okay, what it's for is computers that we had to have for, one was for community development. Their computer went on the fritz. And then also for other equipment, printers. So it's not just computers, but it's also printers and anything that had to be hooked up, and cables.
And so it's my understanding before my last question is that we are paying the HR person.
Yes.
There was never a secret. Yes, we are.
I didn't say it was
well,
a secret.
We've been paying the HR person for over a year and a half now.
My impression was that consulting, Owens Group, that they had consulting in their original contract. Now it seems like to me we paying the annual fee for Owens Group, and then we pay an additional amount for the HR person. Okay. So, and if she's doing consulting, why are we paying Owens Group for consulting and then paying her too? So I'm just trying to.
You're just paying once.
She's not a employee in that aspect. She's a consultant working for the Owens Group, working with the village. So it's not. I'm utilizing her more than we had, because before we didn't have anything close to that. There was just a cursory position. I'm using it more so we can bring some more professionalism and some structure to the village. That's why I'm using her more than what was used before. But I would like to ask you that from this point, could you please get with either Trustee Grant, who is part of finance and budget, or Mr. Mohan ahead of time to ask the questions, to find out, because I did let them go and then they're gone, but these are some of the things that we've been, especially with the Owens Group. Owens Group has been here for a while. And not only do they do that, they also do safety training. They do that once a month. And they're also going to get involved with getting our manual that we haven't had updated in the last 12 years. So that's our manual for disaster plan, for what happens if something happens, emergency plan happens here in the village. The last one we had updated was in 2006. So those are some of the things that the Owens Group does provide. This is just one aspect as far as HR. They provide a lot of other different things for that. And this is just an itemization, but there's a lot of other things that they do for the village. And rather than trying to have someone all the time, this is a consultant that comes in certain hours, certain times a week, and that's all we can afford right now.
Mr. Mayor, when I first started, I said I talked to Mohan about these different issues. And I still am going back to that we have been paying the Owens Group for, that includes consulting, okay, for last year or so. So now all of a sudden, and it's way before my time, we're paying the HR person for consulting too. So the premium that we're paying Owens Group didn't go down, or we didn't delete it. It seems like that the people of Sauk Village, the residents, are paying for the HR person. And it should be included in the Owens consultant.
It was in the budget?
I didn't say it wasn't in the budget.
Wait a minute, you said the people are, because I don't want you to feel that the people of the village are getting shortchanged or we're doing something that's illegal. The Owens Group has been here, as I stated, for a year and a half. They're part of risk management. You understand risk management? Get insurance for everything from somebody falling in the street to something happening from one of our employees may do something wrong and we get sued. The reason why I utilize them is so we can cut down on the lawsuits. The reason why that they're utilized so we can stop spending this money with the lawyers, because we may have messed up. The reason why you need a person here to do that. I'm not versed in that. I'm always under the impression that I'm gonna get someone that is professional so I can stay out of court. That's the reason. It's not, please don't make it sound like we're doing something that was never done before. They've been here. They just weren't utilized for whatever reason. But now they're being utilized because those are the professionalism that they bring here to this village. So please don't put it out there that the village or the trust, the residents are paying. Yes, they're paying every single dollar in their budget. The residents of the village are paying other than what we get from the state. But it's something that we've had, never been utilized, never did. But I'm utilizing it now and I'm doing it now so we can get the biggest bang for our buck, and we have somebody there that want to be professional so we don't have to keep going back and forth to court. As you already know, we have a lot of court costs. As you already know, we have a lot of money tied up in these court costs. I'm trying to stop that. I'm trying to make that to a point where we don't have that. You're never going to not have. But you have to utilize the expertise that you have, and we happen to have the expertise to do it. Yes, it's going to cost a little money. And I'm watching that too. But don't make it seem like it's something that is brand new that we're just not doing. We've done this. We've contracted them for a year and a half, starting off with risk management. And I think they're doing a fine job. I think it is being done a fine job as far as the HR, as you say, HR person. So I'm watching those hours as we watch everything else. So,
Mr. Mayor, I haven't accused anybody of anything. I'm making it seem like it. I'm simply asking a question. It is our job to trace the money.
Okay.
And that's what I'm asking about, is the money. And simple as it is, the Owen Group had a consulting package in their group, and we paid a premium for it. Now I see it's separated, and we pay the HR
it's not
person.
Separated. It's not separated.
You just said that we're paying the HR person.
No, we're paying part of the package. Yes. Part of the package. It's not separate. It's not a separate Owens Group. The check is made out to the Owens Group.
And point of order, Mr. Mayor, and when a resident asks me about it, I'm going to bring it to the board and ask you about how is this being paid and why is it being paid. So I'm not seemingly trying to accuse anybody of anything. I'm asking about the money. That's what we were elected for.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know why you're getting all upset about that.
I'm not upset. Any other questions
well,
for
hold
the,
on to that then.
any other excuse me, is there any other questions for Council P.L.A.N? Any other items? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Bates?
Yes.
Trustee Todd?
Yes.
Trustee Zupan?
Yes.
Trustee Brewer?
Abstain.
Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Motion carried. General comments and discussions from the mayor and the board of trustees. I'll start with Trustee Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I only have one thing that I want to bring out. Give me a second here, because I don't have the paper. Right, but I have to read it off this. The Crossroads Church over at 23001 Torrance Avenue is giving away 250 book bags on August 12th from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. They would like for you to register online to guarantee that you're going to get a book bag. There's going to be free school supplies for 250 students. They are going to be grades kindergarten through 12th grade. There's games and prizes, hot dogs, drinks, and snow cones, and the police department's going to fingerprint the children. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Brewer.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to reiterate when residents ask questions, I have to bring it to the board if I don't know the answer, or either I'm going to do some research and find out what the answer is for them. I think that's what our job is, that we all were elected for, and I'm going to keep asking the same question until I understand what the reasoning is behind what we're doing here. Our job is to trace the, look after the money, and that's what I think we're supposed to be doing. So that's the end of my comment.
Thank you. Trustee Tate.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the back of the room, there's a couple of documents on that table. One's a form that looks like this and has the initials HPOG on it. That's for Health Professional Opportunity Grant. I met with this organization that's called Proactive Community Services, that's starting a program of individuals who want to get into the healthcare arena. And one of the second sheets back there also tells you time frames for participating in the classes. A third item back there is this form, which lists if you want to become a CNA, eventually become an RN, or anything in the healthcare field, they will assist you in doing it. Now, at the bottom of this page are hours of operation that you will be expected to attend classes while you're in training. Now, the classes will be at 2 locations as of right now. One is South Suburban College, and the other Chicago State College. So what this group does, when you fill out the form, they have a lottery system, and they pull individuals from the lottery system to participate in that program. Now, right now, I'm told it's 2 out of 3 people are being selected. So for every 3 applicants, 2 of them are selected to participate in the program. Pretty good percentage. Now, what I want to do, Mr. Mayor and trustees, is have a representative to come out and probably have to schedule during an off meeting night. So maybe on a Wednesday or a Thursday, if it doesn't conflict with any committee minutes. Have them come out and explain how they do, what they do, and then we can start soliciting people to participate in the program. Now, one thing you will notice, it talks about being 18 years or older. So that means that at 35, 45, if you haven't received the training to become a CNA or an occupational therapist or any of those things in the medical arena, you can still apply and participate in the program. There's no age restriction as long as you're 18. So I think this would be a good idea. Unemployment is high nationwide. I think we should take care of Sauk Village first. I don't know why I said that. But that's to get people to participate in the program and to receive an education and occupational training. As I stated, you should grab one of these forms from the back table before you leave. It gives you a host of information, and I will be meeting with them again next week to find out more. I have a couple of small concerns that I want to address with them, but they're going to come out, and I want them to come out and tell you firsthand how they're going to run the program, how the program is set up, and who benefits the most from the program. This first sheet that you see back there is important. When you apply, you need to make sure you have all of this documentation. So don't come trying to apply and you don't have everything with you. That's just going to delay you much further. So get up your documentation together. I'm going to set up the meeting for them to come out and talk to you about all the things that they apply. Now, they also have programs in social services, social support, community health. They have a lot of programs that if we get people involved who want to be involved and stay the course, I think it pays off good. And if you've read or heard anything in the last 6 months, they've been talking about the decline of employees in the healthcare arena. People are starting to retire, and young people who will be under 18 or 18 are not applying to become CNAs. They're not applying to do those jobs that they may think are nasty or filthy or whatever the case may be. But I think it's a good opportunity for us as a village to take a lead and provide this information. And then the residents can apply as they see fit. But at least we provide the information for them to apply to get in there. Now, they're going to be selective. It's 2 out of 3. They're going to be selective because guess what? There's grant money involved. There's grant money involved, which means they want dedicated individuals who are going to stay the course and who aren't going to skip class every other week or every 2 weeks. So if the person is dedicated to stay in the course for whichever program they want to get into, this organization will assist you in paying the tuition and all the course, all the things that are related to that. So again, I'm meeting again next week and ironing out some things, and then I will come back to the board to see. I've heard your meeting schedule kind of in passing, your committee meetings, but find out which day and times work best for you. And from your talking to residents, you can find out what's working best for them. I'm of the mind that we should have it in the evening in lieu of having it at 11 o'clock in the morning. But I'm looking for input from you on what you think we should do what you think works best for Sauk Village residents who may want to participate. That's that key. As you can see, we're still selling raffle tickets. I switched course. They will be sold up until the 16th, the corn and dog roast day. I have to ask Trustee Jones, I'm going to need at least 2 tables. So we will have to talk about that, because I want the tables to be set up near the corn and dog roast so that people will see. Ms. Betcher is in the audience. Could you raise your hand just a little bit? There you go. She's producing some great blankets, throws, whatever you want to call them. And as for the regular service, you see the canisters on the side. I'm hoping to have a table where they'll be displayed, and then it can go to a separate table to buy raffle tickets instead of having them all mixed up in one. So that's going to go up until the 16th. There's a raffle. You see one of the canisters has question marks on it because she's going to provide some surprise gifts. But you can put your ticket in either container, all in one container, however you want to do that. And we get that done with. That's on that tip. The third thing is that I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that we had an investor that wanted to enter into a contractual arrangement with the village to do grass cutting at the vacant houses. I'm not going to talk over all these people sitting out here. So whenever they finish their conversations, we can carry on. So what we're going to, the raffle is going to take place. I was talking about the contractor who wants to cut grass at vacant houses, and he did say that he would do a board-up service. I have not reached out to him. He's supposed to send a program or a list of things that he's going to do and the cost of it. What I like in doing the interim while I'm waiting for that, Trustee Brewer had brought up that she had talked to residents who would cut grass, and for a reduction in their water bill, I think so. I would like to have that, or give it to the whole board so that when we get his document, we'll know what we're dealing with. Now, I know grass cutting season is almost over with. It still does not prevent us from doing prior planning and getting this, at least among us, getting an understanding of what we're doing. So, Trustee Brewer, if you can get a copy of your plan to.
They told me to wait till next year, so I didn't.
Could you ask them to do it sooner?
Okay.
Why are we waiting till next year?
Yeah. Well, because we can't do it, because the grass season is almost over.
Does that stop you from planning?
No.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. If we have a plan, we'll know what we're looking at and what we have to deal with. I know we can't start cutting until next season, or they cannot start cutting, but at least we know what they're saying they're going to do, not going to do, and when this investor sends something out, we'll know what our comparison is. We'll know what the resident said that they can do or want to do at what price, and we know what the investor says he can do and what he wants for the service. I would like to get this is on my plate right now, because it's a housing issue. I want to get it off my plate. So everybody would do their little parts to get their plans and stuff in. I can move this off and we can start focusing on other things in the housing arena. So, Mr. Mayor, that's the third thing that I'm through with.
Thank you. Just a side note real quick, trustee. If you want to have a presentation, you can do that under your committee meeting time. You could, and if you need to pass flyers out or whatever, we can get that done. With the grass cutting, that's something that you have to present. We have to really present it to the board. We have to have a meeting on that and go over all the particulars. So that's not something I would take lightly, because it is something that we'll be doing on behalf of. So we have to make sure that we cross every T and dot every I. And but yeah, the other aspect, yeah, you can do that during your committee meeting. You can have the person to come out and do a presentation. It necessarily have to be at a board meeting, and it doesn't necessarily have to be mandatory that everyone's there, but you can still get the public to come out and listen to what's going on. Thank you. Trustee Jones.
Well, there should be a volunteer sheet on the back table for Parks and Recreation. We are always looking for volunteers. If you would like to sign up for the corn and dog roast, that would be great. We're gonna be closing out and finalizing all of our stations as far as where we're gonna need volunteers at. So if you could do that as soon as possible, I really appreciate it. And that's it.
Thank you. Trustee Zupan?
As those of you who attended last week's National Night Out know, we did sell walking tacos, snacks, pop, water, and the proceeds of that all went towards Shop with a Cop this coming season. We actually had some pop Tuesday night. We're going to resurrect something that we haven't done in several years. But during the board and committee meetings on Tuesday nights, we'll have a table out there with those items. Honor system, same cost, $1, 50 cents, depending on what it is, with the basket out there. If you take something, just put whatever the cost is in there. And again, those proceeds will go towards Shop with a Cop. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Trustee Grant.
I think a couple weeks ago I mentioned that I've completed my OMA training, and I think that for the new trustees who didn't complete it yet, I think tomorrow, I guess technically, is the last day because it's August 9th. But I don't think there's a penalty for it, but just FYI, and then don't forget to have your committee members do that as well. That concludes my report.
Thank you. I just have a couple of things. First, I see the school board president, she left. But the school board, Consolidated School District 168, is having a back-to-school bash at Rickover on August 17th. That's next Thursday at Rickover Junior High from 4 to 6 p.m. One of their sponsors is Walmart. I've gone every year that I was able to go. There will be food, there will be activities and fun. So if you want to come out and see the new teachers, the new administration for the school district, by all means come out to that, because you'll be well attended. If you plan on eating, pardon me? Or if you plan on eating, I would suggest that you get there early. And the clerk, who's also on the school district, on the school board, said volunteers are needed. That's with everything. So I'm sure that they're not going to turn anyone down. I just wanted to thank everyone, and it was talked about today for the National Night Out, that it was a great show of support, and it was basically National Nights Out. It's basically for your first responders, which would be your police, fire, and ESDA, to come out and you can talk, ask questions, find out, learn some things, and commiserate. And I also had the department heads there that you can be there, so you don't have to be in in a structured setting, you can come out. Now, what you did come out, a lot of people came out and asked questions. I appreciate those that did. That's what we're here for, and we'll continue to do that. And hopefully that we do get some volunteers for the Corner Dog Roast, because that's the next big event that's coming up. And I hope everybody comes out and enjoys themselves. Board, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So
Oh, okay. It was moved by Trustee Tate and seconded by Trustee Grant. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Good evening. Have a great week and a safe